Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here today. I already said, first time in 2020, a real conference, physical conference, not virtual. I like it. Yes, climate neutral strategies, only with the transformation from linear to circular economy. That's the topic for today. My name is Andreas Jenne. It's been said, I'm head of sustainability in the REHAU group. And before I start, I want to have 2 slides about the group. What are we doing? In a nutshell, we are a leading developer, like we see us on polymer-based solutions since more than 70 years. So that was the strategy of the company for 70 years, substitution of different materials, of wood, of aluminium, of steel, whatever, and leads to 5 different divisions that you can see here. So we are in the automotive sector, mainly for bumpers, for cars. We are in the building sector, construction sector, civil engineering. There are a lot of products as well for the, say, industry in general, pressure pipes, for oven, for refrigerators, special components that we produce. And the window industry, window profiles as well, are very, very big divisions in our company. Altogether, more than 19,000 employees. We are on all continents and have a revenue of about 3.3 billion. Here just a few products that we've got. I always say everybody of you has at least one product from us at home or in his car. So on the top you see, it's working, yeah, very good. This is underfloor heating. We will have it here, concrete core temperature regulation, definitely in the hotel, for example, then water taps, especially, that was developed last year, special window profiles or window profiles in general that we produce since 40 years, and edge bands. We're world leader in edge bands, for example, such tables here. So a very broad range of different products that we produce. So we are really industry. So industry means, what does it mean when we talk about climate neutral strategies? For us, it's a combination of measurements in energy management and regarding the circular economy, regarding the economical system that we've got. So I've structured the speech in 5 chapters and 5 different parts. First of all, I want to talk about sustainability in general, about past, present, and future, how sustainability has developed and has to be seen now differently than like 10 years ago. Then circular economy. In general, especially in Germany, circular economy is a bit different from a definition point of view, because it's coming more from the waste management part, and circular economy itself, it's a new kind of industrial strategy. So I will point on this and make a deeper dive with the biosphere and technosphere as a concept of the new circular economy, like we will see it in the future. And then the integration and positioning, what we are doing inside REHAU. We are just in the beginning of our climate neutral strategy. So we have started last year with a totally new strategy based on sustainability management and based on circular economy. And then at the end, just 2 small examples and effects that we've got already in our products, in our divisions, when they are based on circular economy and climate neutral strategies. Past, present, future, sustainability. How was it developed? You see on the top, the forest. That was the beginning of Nachhaltigkeit in Germany, or sustainability, invented by Carlo von Carlowitz about 300 years ago. And it was because of industrialization that you can see on the bottom. And he saw in his forest that the trees went away somewhere and there was nothing to come back. And at that time, forest was something very important for the people, not just for the wood, but as well for animals, for food and so on. And just, say, about 300 years later, somebody came, especially the Brundtland report, made it up and said, okay, maybe we have to go back to this definition, to this, we need to meet the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations. In the 300 years between Carlo von Carlowitz and Brundtland report, nothing really happened on this. We just had limited growth. And everybody knows this book from Dennis Meadows, The Limits to Growth, beginning of the 70s. For the first time, somebody said, maybe we have some limits of growth, we have to change something. And that was in the early 70s, but still nothing really happened. But for us as a plastic industry, 2018 was then extraordinary. Because for the whole year, I say we had the first transformation wave. Because for us as plastic industry, there was more or less only one picture all the time in the Tagesschau everywhere. It was of plastic littering or ocean littering everywhere. And when I look into my organization, there are a lot of people who are really involved in this and really saying we have to do something. So the picture shaped the year 2018, and we saw that what we are going to waste is coming back to us. We saw the circular economy actually, but not in a good way, in a say negative way, because we see, okay, there was plastic in the fish, for example. There was plastic everywhere, more or less. So we saw, okay, something has to change. At this time, 2018 as well, there was the first ban of China, with it called national sword, to say, okay, we don't want your waste anymore in our country. So as well, a very big message for especially the European industry and the American industry. And then the second wave came last year with Fridays for Future, even a level above it, saying, okay, we as pupils and students, we see there is a maximum reached at the moment. We have no future, and it became a social movement, not just Fridays for Future, it was Parents for Future, it was Employees for Future, it was Scientists for Future, it was Entrepreneurs for Future. So a lot of different people, with a peak in September last year, came up with 1.4 million people worldwide to demonstrate for a different future. So again, we had another wave of transformation, you can see it here. First time, it was a topic of, I have to go, system change. So something has to change, but really something has to change. Not just a bit of greenwashing, we have a bit of sustainability, no, really a system change. So future. So the future was already in the past, because in 2015, we as, say, a worldwide community said, okay, we want to limit climate, we want to limit carbon emissions to 1.5 degrees Celsius, or at least a lot above 2 degrees. That was in 2015, but as we saw, nothing happened. That was the reason why Fridays for Future came up last year. So here we had binding goals for the first time, binding scientist goals of the world for the community, for corporates, for human family, we could say. So in the end, what's the first message of this chapter of sustainability? I had to do a lot with marketing and with public relations in the past. I was in product management, so people said, okay, sustainability is a bit of a trend, or maybe it's a mega trend. No, it's an imperative. It's an imperative. We have a very interesting book saying Energiewende, 100% renewables is an imperative. And we can say sustainability now is an imperative, so we have to do it. It has to be included in the strategies, but I'm coming back to this later. So that's the first message for today. Going further, going deeper, what is sustainability in an economical context? Past, present, future again. That's the concept. That's what we learned. That's what I know. Okay, our economy is a take, make, use, waste. Take, make, use, waste means when you're on product development, you develop a product, but you're not thinking about the end. That's it. And the concept of circular economy is a take, make, use, recycle. A definition, I would say, of the past. Take, make, use, recycle, because for the recycling process, you still need energy, you still need maybe other material. And you see, from a concept point of view, it was like open. So it's not closed, it's not a closed circle. There's a bit of openness, something can come in, something can go out, there's still waste. But from a theoretical point of view, it has to be totally 100% closed. And especially in Germany, again, like with Nachhaltigkeit, we started with Kreislaufwirtschaft, circular economy in the 19th, and we made a legislation, it's called Kreislaufwirtschaftsgesetz. And in Germany, and especially here in Middle Europe, you know what was the output of this regulation. It was like we see on the bottom. We collected glass, we collected packaging, we collected plastic, in some communities different kinds of plastics, and we collected the rest. You can see it here in the train station. So that was the concept, the avoidance of waste and the environmentally compatible recycling of waste. That's from the Ministry of Environment in 1996. Angela Merkel was in charge of it at that time. So the separation of waste, that was the concept. But we saw from the pictures of 2018 that is not enough. We can collect it, but we don't know what has been used afterwards, what has been done with the waste. And most of it that we collected went to Asia. Now we know it. 5 years ago, nobody knew. And that causes the problem that we see every year with the so-called Earth Overshoot Day. I think you know Earth Overshoot Day? Who knows Earth Overshoot? Everybody knows so. Who's the world leader in Earth Overshoot Day? You can see it here on the map. It's Qatar. Because in Qatar, already in February, they have lived beyond their means, beyond the ecological point of view. So that means fish, clean water, forest, whatever. They've already lived on that after 2 months just in the year. And you can go further on, like Indonesia, that's the runner-up, they're the last, because they are not living like we are doing, like we are living here in Western Europe, for example. So the resource consumption led us to the point that the concept of Kreislaufwirtschaftsgesetz, of just going to do recycling of waste, is not enough. And we can see it as well in our sector, in the plastic industry. You can see here the growth in the plastic industry, limited growth, or no limits of growth. You can see in Europe, okay, we are a constant level, 60 million tons, but we outsourced it, and from the rest of the world, worldwide, we see more than 3 million tons, and I can tell you, the plastic industry is still having figures for 2030 that are well above the production that we've got in 2020. So we are still not lined up with a new concept or with a concept of circular economy. We are still going in the limit, or without any limit regarding growth. But something happened. I just mentioned we have the national sword in China. China said we don't want any your waste anymore, especially your plastic waste. And in 2018, there were some first discussions on the European level, and then Ursula von der Leyen came and said, okay, I have an application. I want to be president of the EU Commission, and I have an application, and it's called the Green Deal. Everybody knows Green Deal, the Green Deal. That was the application form of Ursula von der Leyen for this presidency. And inside this Green Deal, there is one very, very important topic and chapter for the industry. A new industry strategy based on circular economy. A new industry strategy based on circular economy, not just another one, just 50% linear or 50% circular. No, it's based. And this is included, and you see it on the bottom, numerous new legislative and non-legislative initiatives. Some of them you know, because next year, when you go to your favorite currywurst, whatever, point of touch, you won't have, again, single-used forks or knives or anything because it's banned. It's banned. It's banned in the European Union, so something has changed. Some people think, okay, this is just for forks and for knives and whatever. It's not, for example, for window profiles. But we will have as well regulations in these kind of products, in these kind of sectors. So it's just the first step because it's a new industry strategy. And if you have contacts to people who are doing public affairs in Brussels or Berlin, just ask them what's going on in Brussels and the EU Commission regarding this, because there's a lot going on. And it's a dynamic that most people don't think the European Commission could have. So there's a lot going on. And that leads us to the future definition. We all know reduce, reuse, recycle. That's the sentence of the past. The new one is reduce, reuse, redesign. And that's seen here on the bottom, the graphic. So there is really a redesign of the already existing product. So circular economy is inspired by the ecosystem. It's inspired by nature, the resilience and longevity of nature. It is a system in which materials are not thrown away. In contrast, they remain in closed cycles, as a more or less, say, definition of the European Union. Leads us to the next or third takeaway message for today: reduce, reuse, redesign. And redesign means circular design. Circular design means how do I develop a product? I'm thinking from the end, I'm thinking in systems, I'm thinking in networks, and that's the reason why I design the product in a different way as in the past. So it leads to a lot of different approaches that we will have in manufacturing, in product development, in sales, and as well in redesign at the end. Going deeper, dive a bit deeper, biosphere and technosphere. So what is nature? What are the cycles that we are looking for? We need closed loops in resources, and these has to be approved by nature, because nature teaches us how to do it quite easily. And here we're talking about two models. On the left side, you see the technosphere. That's where I come from, the industry, where we use real material like polymers, for example. And on the right side, you see biosphere. These are biological degradation, biological materials. But in both, we've got a cycle. So in the technosphere, we have got manufacturing. After the product in use, we have a collection, then a recycling, we get a material out of it, and again a manufacturing. That's the cycle that we've got there. And biosphere is different. We have got nutrients, we have got plants, we have got material, especially wood. We have a product in use, and again, we have a biological degradation, or we fire it, whatever. These are the cycles that we are talking about, and both cycles are important to understand circular economy. But most important is to, as I said, learn from nature regarding this. So we need a paradigm shift. We have to have nature as a teacher. It's so easy, but it's for an engineer like me not so easy to understand. Biology was not my favorite part in school, but I learned a lot from it. So first of all, what's important, we need diversity. Here on the top, this kind of forest or this kind of agriculture is nothing that is good for circular economy. We need the diversity that we see on the bottom, like this flower, like these flowers in different shapes and different colors. And diversity means as well cooperation. You have to cooperate. Because in a circular economy, when everybody who has done or has really practiced experience in circular economy knows, without cooperation it's not possible. I come later to this profile here. The PVC industry started in the 19th to cooperate for the first time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to have 40% recycling material in such a profile, because without cooperation of the recycling, of the manufacturer, of sales, of the different institution, it wouldn't have been possible. So diversity is essential. That's what we can learn from nature. The second one, in nature there is no waste. You don't have any waste in your garden. Okay, you have some waste, maybe you can put it in the green bin, but then it's as well composted. So there is no waste, everything is a nutrient. Everything is a nutrient. Every material is a nutrient. Even in the technosphere, every material is a nutrient. Because we don't want to have this kind of nice picture when you go to beach or Mallorca or wherever. You want to have a clean beach. You want to live in a nice way without waste. And for this, we have to learn this from nature. There is no waste. And as a third, very important point, energy comes from the sun. Especially in Germany, we know Energiewende is a success story, really a success story. In the 90s, people said more than 5% renewable energy is not possible, otherwise everything will break down. Now we have on certain days 100%, in average more than 40%, it's all possible. So again, we have to learn from nature. Photosynthesis is what nature teaches us, and not the burning of fossil fuels. So, takeaway message for this chapter: diversity, nutrient, sun, renewable energies. That's what we have to look, where we have to put our view to say, okay, that is what we can learn from nature, that's what we have to as well adapt for our technosphere, for our cycles in industry. So what have we done last year in REHAU and the REHAU group, positioning and integration? The reorientation, I said in the beginning, we had substitution of materials in our companies for 70 years. And now we are on a different stage. We are developing the company, the corporate, in a different way. And I've done this with 4 fields of action, 4 fields of focus. We are family business, so we want still profitable growth. And the 3 columns that you see here, the 3 fields of action or focus, are based on this nature, or what nature teaches us. So climate action, renewable energy is the topic, circular economy, there is no waste, nutrients, every material is nutrient, and diversity. And you can see from diversity, we still have a long way to go. We have divisions where we have the strengthening of women, where we have women in charge of less than 7%. This is a nightmare for me as CSR manager. But again, at least we have seen, okay, we have to do something, and it's important for us, for new business models, for the shift to circular economy, to have this diversity in the company and to cooperate, not just internally, but as well externally, and to learn from each other. So we already had something in the company before. So for example, when it comes to long-term growth and to long-term partnerships, since 1951, we are making the straps for the Beetle, and now, because the Beetle is gone, 2018 was the last Beetle that rolled out, we will do it for the next electric bus from Volkswagen, but this is a long-term story. We have seen in our international academy that we are actually doing diverse structures, but we have to roll it out for all the project teams. For rainwater boxes, I just showed it before. We are using since 10 years now, these caps to make percolation systems for rainwater. So these are coming from Coca-Cola. It's not advertising, it's not placement, but really coming from Coca-Cola to make these boxes. And we have already our own windmills and photovoltaic. But what I can see as well from other companies, we have done different pieces, but it's not coming together. And with the concept of circular economy, we have now really the chance to bring everything together and to orientate on our fields of focus, to bring this into a flow, into really a concept that will lead to climate neutrality in the next, I would say, 10 years. And for this, we have developed the concept, the triple bottom line. Maybe you know the triple bottom line. It's the concept of CSR management, and said, okay, for CSR management, you need economical sustainability, ecological sustainability, and social sustainability. But if you want to have a system change in your company, a cultural change, and circular economy, circular design, closed loop are a cultural change, are totally different to what engineers have learned in their studies. You need a transformation of the mindset. Without transformation of the mindset, this is not possible. And therefore, this is the foundation of everything that we are doing in the company. And for me, the strategy has to be top-down and bottom-up. For top-down, it's absolutely important that you have the KPIs, that you have the targets, that you have the fields of focus from your management. But if the organization, if the lower level of management, if the employees are not involved, if you don't have any projects, small or big projects, from bottom up, where people have to get an impression what it means, there is no chance. Because the most important part, the most difficult part, the most challenging, from my point of view, in organization for transformational change is the middle management. When you can convince the middle management, when you have people there who want to go your way, want to go the way with you, for example, in circular economy, in climate neutral strategies, then you have really a chance to transform, to change something. And for this, you need the top-down and bottom-up approach. From my point of view, that's my experience of the last 3 years with this concept. So, coming to the end, energy from the sun. We just started. In general, I would say, when it comes to climate neutral strategies, you need a bunch multiple measures to reach this goal. Definitely for larger corporates, you have an ISO 50001 because for this you have the pressure to do energy efficiency every year. That's for sure, that's easy. Okay, you have to measure your streams. You need energy monitoring everywhere in administration, in the plants. Otherwise, you don't know what you actually can do. You need market-based purchase. You have to know where you're buying your, hopefully, green power. You need more and more hybrid renewable energy plants. Hybrid plants means you are cooperating with energy suppliers because energy suppliers have the knowledge. As an industry, usually we don't have the knowledge. And that's the reason why we have so less renewable energies in industry. When you compare it to your housing areas, everybody more or less has a photovoltaic. And in the hometown where I live, everybody has it. But the industry, just a few of them. So here you need the expertise of energy suppliers. A fifth sector as well, already in housing, is standard. When you go to Berlin, the new housing areas, or Leipzig, sector coupling means the combination of electricity, of power, of heat or chilled water, and of electromobility is coming up. It's a standard. And when I see at our plants, our biggest plant is in Feuchtwangen at the A6. We have 1,000 people. There are about 300 to 400 cars every day. Imagine 50% of these cars are electrical cars, 50% have storage. You are doing your production 24 hours a day. You can use it. That is sector coupling in industry. And the sixth possible is peak shaving. Peak shaving means that you're adapting the Energiewende, that you're adapting the fluctuation of renewables. As well for this, there's public funding available. We have all these measures, but like I said, we have done it in different plants. It's not coming together. So we are trying in CSR management to bring it together for a whole concept. At some stage, we have done this in this plant in Feuchtwangen. We've got 350 people working here. And here we've got anaerobic digestion, 5 kilometers apart from the plant. We're using biomethane to produce heat, electricity, chilled water, and are using green power to actually bring this plant to climate neutrality. So that is a very, very easy approach. So when you have anaerobic digestion, not far away from your plant, you can use it. Even you can use it virtually to get at least a first step into climate neutrality in a plant. So again, here, takeaway message you have to use for energy transformation, for climate neutral strategies, multiple approaches. You need renewable energy, you need efficiency, you need the closed loops. Why, I will tell in the next example. And sector coupling, from my point of view, is one of the most important points. And as well, again, it's about cooperation. So an example for Technosphere. Again, sentence, there is no waste, everything is in neutron. We have to use the material. As a REHAU, we can say since the 50s, because the company was built out of the trash of the Second World War, every material was nutrient. Because the founder said, okay, this is useful material. We have to use it, definitely. We cannot throw it away. So that is really, a good DNA of the company. But it's not enough. Because when we are talking about climate neutrality, we have to talk about scope 1 to 3, and especially the downstream. So everything that is done afterwards, it's important. And for this, you need circular economy. Otherwise, you're ending up with a lot of energy that you lose, or that you are producing at the end of the product life cycle of the product. And again, especially the upstream activities, when we're looking at these polypropylene here, polypropylene as virgin material has a footprint of 2 tons per ton polypropylene. When it comes to a recycled polypropylene, it's just 200 kilogram. So that's a big reason to do actually recycling and again circular economy. A study from McKinsey from last week. Again, you see the material production has a part in the carbon footprint, but the most part so far is still fuel supply and tailpipe. And this will change with our different mobility strategies and different mobility developments that we've got in the world. And so the material part will become even more important. And that's the reason we have already started in some of our divisions with our own concept. and that's the reuse of post-consumer material from old windows to save up to 80, 85, 90% in the complete life cycle. And how this works, I want to show you here if it's working. Yeah. It's a German video, but you will see the pictures. So you got to see a company who's actually just dismantling, deinstalling this old window, the window from the 70s. So everything, because it's a remediation of the house. This is a Decor, it's a subsidiary of REHAU. So you see all the old windows with the glass and with profiles in an industrial style kind of separation process. And from this separation process, it has to come up to a level, to a quality that you can use it again in such a profile. And you can see it here. It's becoming more cleaner, and when you see here in the glasses, that is something what we can use then in our plant, for example, in Wittmund, in the northern part of Germany. And you can see all the gray part in the profiles here, that is recycling, like here in this one. That's an extrusion process where the profiles are produced. We've got a label, it's called EcoPulse, and you can have up to 90% of the material here if you want it white outside as a recycler. And here's again, the same company is installing the new profile, bringing it to site and installing the new window. And this is not just a small, this is a standard. It's a standard. So it's not something that happens just once in a year, sondern it happens every day on every site in Germany, and not just from REHAU, but as well from another different companies who are involved in this process. So we are producing about 50,000 tons of recycled material out of old windows. Usually about average 40% recycled material, saving carbon emissions up to 80%. And afterwards, you still can recycle this and make a new window out of it 7 times. So it's a long time to go for the material. Oops. So there are possibilities, but you have seen it's still reduce, reuse, recycle. It's still not already reduce, reuse, redesign. What would it mean? Redesign would mean I take the old window and have a new application for it, for example. So we still have to see, okay, is this the right concept? At the moment, it's a concept that we are using. So in a summary, sustainability is an imperative, meaning you have to include it in your strategy, in your corporate strategy, directly in the divisions. The future is circular design, so you have to have a look, you have to think from the end. All materials are nutrients, different thinking than before. Material is always a nutrient, shouldn't end up on a waste site. Most important from my point of view, when you want a transformation internally and at your stakeholders, you need a new mindset. You have to change that. Energy transformation are multiple approaches. One part of it, one big part for industry is circular economy. And what I can see in my company, it doesn't matter if it's the employees or if it's the machinery or the concept, everything is available. You just have to bring it together. But this is the most difficult part. So I think 1 minute left, so I will end up with this video here.
Our business model has primarily focused on developing long-lasting polymer solutions for
That's the second generation who's talking here.
We really
Dr. Wagner.
How, certain value chains
And that's the third generation of our company,
or
Nils
being
Wagner.
disrupted in the market, and that's a place where we are trying to carve out, a new spot for REHAU as well. If you're not addressing product life cycle issues, if you're not helping to reduce waste and increase energy efficiency, you will not be relevant in tomorrow's world.
Our business model has primarily focused on developing.
We don't have to hear it again. So thanks for your attention. I'm open for questions at the panel. Afterwards, I think 12:30 was it, or 12?
11:35.
Yes. And especially critical questions that you might have. Thank you for your attention again, and yeah, see you in a bit.